one's called. There sure are a lot of Baptists here. The Erie Baptist Church.
No thanks. Oh wait.
Yeah, no.
What's your name again?
Mark.
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 That's right. I was in New, saw you the other
Yeah,
day, right?
that's right.
Yeah, with the interview, yeah. Been running around, sitting in on everything. Got a lot of material.
Now, that machine takes special tapes, doesn't it?
Yes, that's 2 hours there.
Yeah.
It's an 8mm.
Now, I'm not liable to say anything very intelligent.
Aaron,
On
whatever
the
you
other
say
hand,
is
now
fine.
that I look at it, you're not liable to ask anything very intelligent, so we should have a
That's all right. It'll work out. May I turn that on, or you want to wait?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, we're just waiting until I turn it on before you turn it on.
I'd like to know, what really interests me in your work is the spiritual aspect, because I've myself have done a lot of reading in different occult traditions.
Mhm.
So that allowed me to read your films from that perspective. And I wanted to know what kind of occultism you were exposed to when you were growing up.
Well, I would say that the books that were lying around the house were basically theosophical.
So your parents were in the theosophical tradition? then?
To a degree, they were very eclectic in their religious activities. For example, I went to a great number of different Sunday schools and so on, which was determined by the one that we were the closest to.
Mm-hmm.
So that I got a sort of a taste of a great number of religions. Although they drew the line at the more ecstatic ones, that would have little rooms in the basement with polished floors for you to roll on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And frost. Right.
And so forth, which are the ones we should cater to. But on the other hand, I got some idea of the pageantry, but I don't believe any of the theology of the Catholic Church. I mean, that's influenced me quite a bit, is the mere fact that the ceremonies in the Catholic Church must be beautiful. In,
Oh, yeah.
1300 or something. I
Yeah.
mean, it was,
Magical at that point.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like the answer to rural life. And, but other things like the Presbyterians and the Baptists. And although my father always kept a little warm and very servicemen, he had a big relation with the leaders. They both, like I say, although around my grandmother's house, because the lady that did sewing, I can't remember her name. So my grandmother was a friend of, went to India many times, was a friend of Bishop Ledbetter. So
Bishop Ledbetter, really?
Yes.
Oh, God.
And elder brother. And I suppose indirectly, he sent me a magazine that I have never been able to trace down more copies of, called We Wisdom.
We Wisdom?
Yeah, it was a theosophical
right.
magazine for children, I believe.
Huh.
It'll probably turn out to be Erie Baptist book for children. So that I would say that, and just before I left San Francisco, Henry Miller gave me a set of The Secret Doctrine by Matthew Rorowski.
Right.
These things like The Lives of Alcyone, which was like the rise of the various things that the stages of Krishnamurti is supposed to have been through. At the point where things seem to be completely chaotic, like the bishop had a cat that was the backwards reincarnation of the entire Theosophical Society.
I know. It gets very twisted, doesn't it?
Well, and it was on, of course. At that point, he refers to as being on the threshold of divinity. She'd already been people like Christ and Giordano Bruno,
Right.
and a variety of other people. But always like that statement on the threshold of divinity. Goodness, if I got to be Christ just once, I'd be happy. But then, I would say that when the books of Kandinsky and the paintings of Rudolf Bauer, does anybody ever hear of Rudolf Bauer?
I know Kandinsky thoroughly. I've read everything and seen everything that I can, but I don't know Bauer.
Yeah.
Was he a theosophist?
I don't know. I'm sure he sort of out Kandinsky,
Really?
but due to his relationship to Hilary Bay, who was the building at that point the Museum of Monumentary Art, Bauer was sort of hated. Because, of course, the Guggenheim had a lot of money, and one of the first things they did was rent a floor, an entire floor toward the top of the Plaza Hotel, and then arrange this stuff in that order that
Right.
it later was supposed to be in, where everything from Bellini and Fra Gelfa or somebody worked up to Kandinsky and Bauer.
I see.
And so that my interest in occultism at that point were more in the practical applications that Kandinsky in his two books or so wrote about.
Right.
The action of the square and the circle and the triangle. Now, who got me interested in in modern occult movements were some people who ran a bookstore, Bill and Mary Gore. And they'd sit at the same table in this cafe, the Black Cat, with Alistair Crowley and Somerset Maugham,
Oh, my.
and a few such a sort of various things they told me about that I would shock people, so I don't want to put it on tape.
Fine.
And
I was going to ask you, like in early abstractions, I thought I saw almost a Kandinsky or clay palette, and then I was wondering if those colors for you were symbolic of spiritual, or is that too much to go to? I mean, you know how the Theosophists, they have all those charts and the colors and they have shapes.
with
And
an apology,
yeah, this is
there's no printing ink can do more than for the glorious colors of realities and earth-still clay and good light. Yeah, it's at the beginning of the invisible and invisible, and at the beginning of thought forms.
Right.
Incidentally, those three paintings at the end of thought forms. I forget who the three composers are, where the stuff bubbles out of the cathedral.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's wonderful. Mozart is one. Mozart is one.
And Bach is one, and Scriabin.
Yeah, yeah.
Those would, no doubt, be the first paintings that more or less were fully removed from what might be called realistic painting, a specialized way that we have of viewing reality. Which isn't very good in a lot of ways. In some book or other, there's a big, never mind. I've seen it myself, that if you get off a railway train or whatever in a strange town,
Yeah.
that it's complete confusion.
Yes.
And that flat kind of painting used by the, well, before Raphael, say, really resembles the confusion more than a perspective drawing. You know, the main
I see what you're
street
saying.
in Boulder, Colorado, a postcard doesn't really get you to a place that sells cigarettes. It gets you to plenty of places that sell carriages. I can't even remember what the last question was.
We were talking about early abstractions, and I was asking about theosophical
the
colors.
No, that was
Yeah.
more or less based on the colors that were available.
I see.
And naturally, say when I began using the axe, I went to Hollywood. I used to hitchhike to Hollywood every weekend from San Francisco. And usually stayed with the Whitman brothers. But Madoff's originally talked to him a lot.
Right.
Whitman things. Those are sort of like the real colors.
I see.
The same ones that have been taken by a cult. They're not necessarily a cult colors, they're just the basic colors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And after all, we are experiencing a illusion of a psychedelic nature at this very moment. I mean, we're high on something, but what it is I don't know, although starch is figuring it very heavily to produce this particular illusion.
Well, in early abstractions then, so you've got this color palette. Now, I was also thinking of things like numerology, Kabbalah, and Pythagoreanism. Now, were those your concerns when you were making the early abstractions? Were you thinking in numerological terms or Kabbalistic terms?
I don't believe so. I believe I was looking more at Persian and to a degree Chinese art.
Mandalas?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And Tibetan paintings have figured in my life for a long time. Although my rich relatives tended to have rooms in Chinese style. Because they had employed a lot of Chinese during World War I.
Oh.
And I insisted on dressing in Chinese clothing until I had to go to school. I could hear her weeping and wailing. I had all these Chinese things laid out, and robes on, and a couple of dolls that danced that were named Amnite, Amnite Soba and Amnite Truba, I believe. They were from pictures in the Geographic, but later turned out to be Tibetan.
Uh-huh. So were you getting the Buddhism or Taoism when you were growing up, or were your parents interested in that?
I still don't I haven't trusted the writers on Taoism until really this doctor, whatever his name, Chow, who writes a book on the cow and sells Chang's long life tea, which is a recipe his grandfather. He traces his genealogy back to whoever wrote the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Internal Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Whole family has been doctors, and he's peddled his stuff in San Francisco.
Mm.
But his book on Taoism is sure an eye-opener.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he ends up with a very careful analysis of the I Ching and says anybody that uses this for divination has just missed the point totally and entirely. The signs are to be meditated on, but never used to indicate the future.
Mm.
Also a series of exercises, naturally he goes into Tai Chi very carefully, but some even more interesting ones are animal poses, like an eagle and stuff, that are very close to American Indian things.
Yes, right.
What impressed me was these animal poses. I suppose there's only certain ways that you stretch your arms out, you're going to be a bird.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Or if you crouch down, you're going to be a frog or something.
Something like that, yeah. I can't even remember your question.
We're talking about early abstractions, and I've
Yes.
asked you about the color, and I've asked you about the numerology. Now I'd like to ask you about the music. So earlier you were...
Well, the music was changed around many, many times. They were first married to be silent, with two rhythms, one for the heart and one for the respiration. So they're going to lock into each other. I think they're 13 and 72, but I'd have to look it up in Cunningham's Anatomy, readjust the figures slightly. I basically make measurements of my own. I think it's 13 and 72, or somebody miles thinks is average. And
So,
those are both important occult numbers.
right.
My knowledge of things like the Zohar and Pythagoreanism and such like stuff basically came either from the Gorns or from someone named Lionel Ziplin's grandfather. He's a poet and personally interested in the Kabbalah. When I came here, I'd been given some, for example, it's sort of peculiar way that Lionel operates. It's when I came here, I'd been given some shoes, supposedly from the head of the Rosicrucians of Belgium. And when I got to New York, I think I got even warmer the train. Boy, was I glad we got to Newark, because I thought it was a new ark. Everything would be saved on. Instead, it turned out to be Babylon, but they lied. I put the shoes on, walked, and it rang the doorbell, and it was these two people, Joanne Zipper. They had just got married, not even their parents knew where they were. But the shoes had gone there. And they advised me to see the drawer. And from then on, they, after I'd gone through, there was a lady that used to hang around their Dorothy LaVore. And at one point she said, well, those things is time you meant to count Gillespie. I didn't realize, you see, Dorothy was a very strange person. She traveled for many years with Gertie.
That's it. I knew the name. Okay.
Yeah, oh, two of the Gerties.
Okay,
Yeah, I've never been much interested in that. Too many papers. Although I've made motion pictures of the dancing, which is quite impressive. And yeah, she traveled around with Gertie, but also interesting enough was a very close friend of Nikola Tesla that for 1 year made experiments on
physics.
Well, he invented the alternating current that made everything possible. But his major early experiments were on top of Fikes Peak.
Right, he's going through a revival now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Tesla's big because they suddenly realized he invented everything, that this person who, like a painter Ryder, slept on a window shade, thought his name was, I mean, that his existence was connected with a certain bird that came to the terrace in the Versailles Hotel, which is where he lived, that he would die when the bird died. Sure enough.
Wow, it's a real totemic
So,
thing,
a
yeah.
lot of people turned against Tesla.
Oh, I see.
Edison, of course, is arch-enemy because the alternating current can kill people much more easily than direct current, and Edison had always built his machinery on the direct current. But he was just as crazy as Tesla.
Yes,
When
yes,
he
that's
walked
true.
home from the laboratory, he'd stop to shake hands with hundreds of people with words there. He thought he saw him, he never slept. He played the organ, he was totally deaf, played the organ every day for a few hours next to a marble statue of Diana. I mean,
So he was out there.
And at the time of his death was working on an extract of sunflower oil that when applied to a certain part of the brain, increased its ability like 3 million times. This is because he thought all his inventions, if they were inventions, were coming from little people that lived in his head. Now, of course, the existence of these homunculi has later been demonstrated by, particularly by Wilder Penfield at the Montreal Neurological Institute. And
I don't know that. I do that what you just mentioned.
great, it's something you didn't know. But I also presume that the colors are in some way automatically built in. Like to be red in the face is entirely different than being green with envy or having the blues or being in a brown study or something.
Okay.
And the colors are very peculiar because they're the intermediary. Most of the color devices, such as the color wheel and the circle of colors, what I mean by color when
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I know that,
and it
yeah,
turns out
right.
yellow or gray or
Right.
some color, whatever praying says. And those are all either Schiller or Goethe's inventions, strangely enough.
Right, Schiller and Goethe were both working on that. Right.
Yeah.
So when you were making early abstractions, were you thinking in terms of what these colors do to the body or do to the mind? I mean, obviously you were. I mean, because when I was watching them, I kept thinking, well, there's almost story here or narrative or something, the way the color and shape and the numbers move together. So I was wondering what you were thinking when you were making them.
No, I think that's a function of Wittgenstein says the world is all that is the case.
Right.
That red is red, and yellow is yellow, and so on. And that purity in the earthly realm, well, I never thought of that. And it requires a great examination of the colors to tell whether they're pure or not. What I meant to say is whether they have corruption in them. Like that lipstick you're wearing.
All day starlit pink.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, all day starlit pink.
Yeah, I'd be careful of that. I've noticed certain little things about like that. The psychiatrist's wives most often use brighter reds in their lipstick.
Huh.
No, I'm not making a joke. It's true.
Well, I was just wondering about it, you know.
They
It's
usually
rather
wear whiter powder and
redder lipstick.
redder lipstick. Yeah, there's some kind of contrast. give thing occurred. Is this your handwriting?
Yes, this is my.
Yes, I'm a handwriting expert. I'm leaving.
Oh no! This was scribbled in the dark while your films were playing. I wasn't even able to see what I was
good.
writing. This is here. This is much
That's what
better.
I'm afraid of. Yeah.
Okay, I want to move on now to heaven and earth magic. Now, what I noticed in there, what I thought was, were you at all influenced by the Rosicrucians or by the Egyptian? I mean, certainly there's so many Egyptian symbols in there. I mean, do you have any affiliation with either
King Tut, yes.
Egyptian stuff? I mean, because I know you've got.
You know, if you live with people that are, it's my parents' fault. Naturally, Tutankhamun's tomb being discovered in 1923, the year I was born. My early childhood was, you have no idea, everything was in Egyptian style. Nobody would, thought of making anything from a card table. I particularly think of the masses of jewelry that people had that were imitations of Chinese jewelry, whereas, I don't know, it is that's like Ghana mode. Probably Indian
it's from a Nubian pharaoh's necklace. It's a
Well, I'm
replica.
fairly fast then. I said Ghana, yeah. That type of bronze casting.
Yes. So
So, I've been interested in, I've always found Egyptian art to be very beautiful, although I have a tendency to consider the Egyptians feeble-minded to a great degree.
because
I don't know, there's a lack of humanity in their writings. There's no real colloquial literature, whereas the Babylonians can make you laugh and cry alternately, and they're, the earliest, whatever that is, Akkadian is about the same time as the Middle Period in Egypt.
right.
And they write literature that seems so much more realistic to me, but that may be just because I got interested. But like the high school play that would be put on would have an Egyptian theme, everybody would be dressed up and they'd have these pieces of paper. It was permeated with Egypt the same way that our life today is permeated with ecological disaster. It's sort of what everybody thinks about.
So
Not that I've run into anybody that thinks about it, but I'm sure they do.
yes.
This feeling of death
Yes.
that was somehow invoked by the large number of peculiarities that surrounded the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb.
Right.
It was done on the last day they had the license to dig, they found it. Although Ed Sanders thinks that's really because Carter had broken in and looted the place. Anything that was, and it may be that way, because it was chaos in the first room. Never mind about that.
Well, tell me, when a viewer is viewing heaven and earth, for example, did you have in mind like sort of strict symbolic interpretations? I mean, because I kept thinking this is a story and I can follow it, and I'm just wondering what was going through your mind when you were putting those images together. So, what you want?
I would say that it was done by collecting all the available images. In other words, they were in glassine envelopes that were arranged from things like maybe the first one was an amoeba and the last was one of those things made up. I don't know. It was to be much longer. The backgrounds and things had all been made for the flood, all kinds of fantastic animals in those arms, but it was never shot. What I was thinking about was, I don't know, they bore a, didn't that question come up in the movies that I said that they had sort of utilized the same data that was probable. I mean, so little is known about dreaming. It evidently being impossible even at a very deep level to find out what a person really dreamed. It's sort of like the simplest of the simple. But at the time,
Yes.
I would sleep. It was very exhausting work.
Oh, yeah.
And when I got tired, I'd sleep and then try to put it in the movie.
Really?
But maybe not in the same form. But let's say what I had dreamed, and that the sleep patterns were very haywire from the circadian rhythm or whatever it's called. I'm sure sleep one night 2 hours, get up and work 15, and then sleep for 18 hours, and work for 2, or a great number of things like that.
Uh-huh.
So the same material is used, you might say, but at a different level of interpretation. My only feelings about that film is that in fact all of my films is that at this point they're in desperate need of editing. Some change has perhaps taken place in time, or the tempo at which we listen to music, or live, or this, that, or the other. And they could be helped by being cut down. Although the audiences here have been the most attentive, I believe, of any that I've ever had.
I mean, because
there are a lot of differential things here. I'm more interested in the things that exist now, not as in its formative stage, because if the viewing of the film, say, would be hard to prove that we were at. You can be given thousands of pieces of paper, you can write forever. But arriving at even the symbols of symbolic logic would never allow you back to them.
right.
In that sense, the film doesn't exist. I think that Heaven and Earth Magic is too long.
Well, every time, I mean, I kept having the experience that we were going deeper and deeper through layers of story. I mean, or coming through the layers as you were speaking to dreams, how that there's layers and layers of symbols and symbols of symbols. I kept feeling like I was going through layers of story and an alchemical story, essentially, for me.
Yeah, by that point, that film was made, I'd already tried a number of alchemical experiments, and I had a magic circle drawn in ink that glowed under ultraviolet light drawn on the floor, and all kinds of glass chemical ware with...
So did you actually do it? Did you try?
Of course, but I never got good results unless I had taken peyote or other drugs.
Uh-huh.
Hi. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Diane. Let me turn this off just for a second. And then
For a second, you don't turn that off forever.
oh, please, Harry, there's just 2 more questions I want to ask you.
Yeah, well, let me have a couple
Okay, yeah,
of
take a
pauses.
break, take a break.
Be nice to people, I mean,
Take a break.
they think I'm abandoned to the safety.
Nothing. I'd be,
It's easy to ask you all these questions that are essentially, I don't think have much to do with the thing. You're more interested in what I would consider to be surrealist.
Well, I'm moving into surrealism here. I was just going from film to film. I'm moving right up to there. I just have one more
Because
question.
all
I'm gonna
my
ask you.
speeches are my elocutionary exercises. They're supposed to be on surrealism. As I tried to explain the other day,
May I
it
turn this
cannot.
on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have to say that all over.
Well, I just wanted to
And
check.
though my series lectures are rather elocutions that I did here the other day, are on surrealism, and that was one of the main points that I tried to bring up, was that it's a state of mind that everybody both has and has. So
I'm
that
having this food, so food.
I'm willing to accept proofs on paper. I do believe in some creative force. I hesitate to call it God, because that's too limiting. Well, I'm not going to get my nose punched by some people that were telling me that I'm down that bridge. Somebody didn't throw me off. Did I know Jesus?
They're everywhere.
Well, I don't know. I told him to look on the mall. He headed in that direction or something. I mean, I make him smart.
So have you made a study of psychology? I mean, were there any?
Yeah, there's no subject that I haven't studied.
What
Except,
are your influences there?
except my own inability to cope with the world. I cannot find solutions. It's as if the language was built incorrectly for discussing the subjects that I really want to discuss.
I see. When you were making late superimpositions,
Very hard to remember
Yeah.
to talk about it. Thanks a lot.
oh no, I'm sorry, Harry. I mean, give me a break.
Okay.
How much was that's the amazing synchronicity between the layers? You know,
Oh, that was just totally.
was that totally surrealist chance
It's totally through chance. If we had a movie camera, you can borrow a movie camera, but I'm scared of all equipment around here now. Those are very dangerous, those self-threading projectors. And you should see the one at the University of Denver. I mean, oh, they're drilling for gold. That's ridiculous. It wasn't a projection booth. But, what was your question again?
I was asking about the synchronicity of those layers. How those things.
No, there was no attempt at all. Although it was impossible not to remember that, say, light area, say that this area was being shot, that it was lighter up at the top, so the next time around you better put some light down here and something dark up there. But there was no attempt at all. I think the entire film was run through 4 times, once in Anadarko, Oklahoma, once on 9th Street, between A and B maybe or something, if there is such a street, no there isn't, so I don't know. Part at Dorothea Weiss's house where the beads were being.
Yes, the pearls.
But you just say, everybody asks, who is he? This is distinguished.
Oh, he did. Yes, there's no
He
doubt.
tried very hard, so he gets A for effort. And, yeah, it was just run through arbitrarily. But as I said in the preliminary remarks of the thing, the brain, or the consciousness, I had to develop a whole new vocabulary here. In fact, in Naropa, a whole new artificial language has to be devised.
So when you were, what words were you reaching for this time?
No, I was just thinking, see, there's a book, Sir Isaac Newton invented one of the best artificial languages. He spent most of his life working on alchemy.
Right.
And boy, locating the manuscripts, I was it's kind of a relief. If you saw that book, the Hunting of the Green Dragon, or whatever it's called, from Cambridge University Press, I thought, well, this is what Cambridge University is up to now. They say that the Southby catalog will forever remain the primary source on the manuscript. You know, the catalog, for example, people bought alchemy books and then tried to keep other people from finding them.
Right, there's a great cover-up.
A large number of them were bought in Israel, which I thought was interesting. Sir Geoffrey Keynes has tried to make an annotated version of the Southby catalog. And anyhow, he also has devised an artificial language and other stuff. And there's a history of artificial languages in the University of Toronto. They're very strange, you know, language is peculiar. In Sanskrit, for example, there are no words that indicate real substantiality. Like we have words like, I mean, because the whole philosophy is based on things being of an illusory nature. That the language itself is constructed in such a way that it formulates those ideas that are two sides of the same coin. There is no concept of real solidity like we have with the table. I was really good floor, but I prefer to imagine a solid or each line. Now,
right, and the findings of physics tell us that, you know, the table is empty space too, you know. So,
well,
yeah,
there ain't nothing there.
the closer you look.
Although the standard physicist, if you slam his finger in a car door, will admit the substantiality of the car door. But I'm talking not largely. So you can say. Now, any further questions?
I'm just kind of, I think, not right now. Oh, let me throw out one more though. What are your feelings in terms of the archetype? Because I thought when I was viewing something like Heaven and Earth Magic that I was encountering an archetypal dimension. Perhaps that was coming from your dream.
Well, I tend to think of archetype as being, you know, a Jungian concept. And there's no doubt that I was reading Jung
at the
time that the hand-painted films were made. But I'd recovered from Jung by that time and got more into what you think of as occult literature.
Because I thought I noticed the influence of, at least because of my reading, I was reading Jung into your films.
Yeah, only the early ones.
Only the early ones, and then you go. From here on in, then you get more realistic. Is that what happens? From after Heaven and Earth Magic, where do the films go?
Mostly, right up through the order they were in there. But then I began making films of situations that probably would cause trouble as the films, like people going insane and so forth, as the film were released.
I see.
The last one that I made, I guess 2 years ago, was, I hope gets here before I leave. It's in California.
It is. Where?
Berkeley.
It's in PFA?
No, some friends, it's on string figures, you know, and I can't go into all this, except that I would like to mention Kandinsky's painting, The White Edge. When I understood what that meant, course, things. And there's people long
This is
enough.
not-
Okay, thank you, Harry.
Do Diane has had,
Okay,
has changed
thank
her
you.
costume 3 times.
Thank you.
But, next
Thank
time.
you, Harry, that was useful.
Yeah, next time you're stuck in the dark, think of a few more questions. Have you changed your clothes 3 times, Diane?
No, just once. I thought something cool.
Yeah, I did, I got a lot of things.
You were a different color.
I know.
Sorry.
No.
Is it green like that, just like that? You didn't, okay, good, okay, that's just, okay.
Well,
Some
it's
lady
like you
into
did
the-
it, I'm trying to convince you that it's necessary to make it specialized.
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
Just like
see what else I can
Sanskrit,
come up with, but I did get to cover a lot of
has
ground that I
no
realized.
ways of indicating
Yeah.
substantiality. It can only indicate the illusory, blah. And the literature and the language
Yeah,
sit
because
together,
that's what I really want to do, is that stuff, because that's what I.
discussing these things is very hard, as you know.
Yes, it is.
You're
Okay,
both
great, because I'm gonna be gone.
don't get hurt. And,
And
they
then I'm
think
gonna do
that
my
it's
next
not
exercise,
far.
I have a friend who likes to love.
She's excellent. You'll bring her to, okay. You rewrite.
No, I can't.
I do have one statement I want to read on this, but I'll have to get, oh, you're already plugged in.
Oh, I can plug right back up.
Why don't you go get your statement?
Why don't you do that? Let's get it on tape.
Well, because of the, to the end of the geologic period, you're trying to do the thing.
Right. Right. Okay, I think that was my last mission, was giving Alan the name of the lady who cleans.
Okay.
Ah,
You
useful.
taking off, or you gonna be around?
I'm going to be around for one more day. We're moving over to the motel across the street because it's Andre's apartment as of noon today. And the chef doesn't have to go back till tomorrow, so I'm not going to go back to seminary tomorrow.
Are we going back there?
Yeah, I'm going to do seminary all summer. Yeah, you should do it. You'd love it.
I've done about 3-4 days.
You'd love it. I mean,
It's
I love it.
somewhere here, don't
That's
turn
what I
the
was
machine.
thinking.
Okay.
I'm sort of like getting a high school diploma and I just have to do it. But once I got that, I love it. It's first of all, it's so outdoors and intense.
Is this
Sure.
an institution?
No, it's part of campus thing.
And you do this practice there?
You do 10 or 12 days of sit and then 10 or 12 days of Hinayana study. And then you sit and then you add certain other things to it that are like Tom Lin. I don't know if I'm going to explain that to you, but it's like a practice of breathing in.
I have no idea what that
Darkness and
means.
pain, breathing out.
Yeah, this part I do want to
You
do.
sit Mahayana stuff like that, and then 10 days of study with Mahayana teaching.
So much of the inner mind
And then
is
you
added.
start Vajrayana sit,
Being
I don't know
of
what
a
you do next.
nature
And
is
then
be
Vajrayana
scarcely
study, and then the transmission.
understood by the thinker, much less conveyed
Conveyed
by signals such as
And it comes
words
in chunks. During the study period, you
that
sit
bind the reader
twice
to
a day.
their inner
First thing
thought,
in
in
the
this
rest
case,
of
the
the
bind
sometimes
the
you'll give them
viewer, the
classes and
film,
study
or whatever.
periods. And it's so
The
wonderful to
bind
be,
into their inner
it's like
thought.
8,000 feet, it's all outdoors.
The idea I'm trying to
Sitting is in a
express here
huge
is
circus tent. And
that
the tents have a trailer because I have all these aches and pains.
secrets can't be told,
Everything
not
in
that the
air
words
is in
can't
the
be
air, elements just
articulated,
in the air.
but
It's
very often they're
It's
misunderstood.
2000.
Now, I understand
Yeah.
your,
It's really great some things together.
It's really great, yeah.
uh,
And to have
in
the time to
Diane's
study.
class.
The time
Oh,
to
yeah, I
sit
worked with
and
Diane
what's
for a
going
long
on.
time.
Great.
You probably can make your message.
Yeah, but don't you think we
Nobody
each
really
interpret
teach
the
you
secrets
what
our
it is.
own way, and isn't that really the secret kind of thing? or-
Yeah,
Yeah?
I go
I'm
along
gonna
with
go for a
that.
day or so.
And,
He goes to Vajrayana, I don't suppose you should come. If he goes to
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Stop. All right,
I
Harry.
keep saying I wanna get up there, it's good for him to get on here.
Yes.
Oh,
Maybe I will see you
so I have to
later.
transcribe.
Well, if I don't see you.
Oh,
Every word.
Just looked at it.
I do in San Francisco. I'll be able to get hold of the machine to make it easy.
One of them.
Bye-bye, Diane.
Bye, Dawn. See you back there.
Okay. Oh, great. Oh.
So, of course, anything that's on there requires extensive editing.
Oh, yes.
I
I'll let
think
you see it, Harry. Harry, is there an address where I can get in touch with you in New York? Why don't you give that to me now?
You want to do it Alan's and I'll get it, Harry?
Yeah, I don't know.
You wanna do it that
Send
way?
it to Alan, to Harry's attention. You have to address it to Alan or else he won't get it.
C.O. Alan.
No, it's not CO. That's the point. Send it
Okay.
to Alan Ginsberg, Box 582,
Box 582.
Stuyvesant, STUYVESANT.
E-E-S-A-N-T.
Station
Station
10009.
10009.
Attention, Harry Smith.
Attention, Harry. Okay.
The only restriction I put in this, on this interview, is that it not be printed in one of Jonathan Robbins' magazines.
Okay.
Okay? A good person to try is Annette Michelson, care of a magazine called October.
October.
Yeah, it's put out by MIT.
MIT.
She's head of the film department at NYU, and she can also be reached there. Annette Michelson, because she'll put color pictures in.
Oh, good. See, that's what yeah, good. That's what I wanted to. Yeah, I was thinking about illustrating it and getting color as well. So that's a good help. I have friends, a lot of friends who write for film magazines on the West Coast as well. So I'll get in touch with her and see what she says. And then I got,
Well,
other
just drop her line.
Yeah, I will.
That I was in the Rockies in an effort to regain my health. Which unfortunately backfired, and I can hardly walk, but so okay, you can either send me a copy or not. After it's printed, I'd like one copy, but I'm sure to be upset by it. Well, everything
I'll do my
upsets me. It
best,
doesn't
Jerry.
matter what it is. Here, have another.
I can't have a meeting in a half an hour, Harry.
You have a meeting in a half an hour. What do you?
I have to behave like a...
Well, this is some kind of a scene from the Saul Rock.
That man, that's Harry Smith. Oh, come on, tell me another one. That's Harry Smith. You know Harry Smith? Huh? That's him.
Is this the heavy duty trampoline?
You know where it is?
I'd like you to hear your I'm making, over the years, I make these places to
Let me make up.
Mid-meal. He's done.
I'd rather have
So they got all these government grants. Howard, you want to get the push? Okay, now this out here. That one over there. Is that the purple one or the French one? Yeah, it's really hip. Jacket. It's over here. This way. Okay, I need to get some more of this. One moment. I just dropped this here. Not very much. It's 6 o'clock. It's almost 7. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm fine.
How's your summer been?
Actually, I've had a really fun summer. More than usual. Have you gotten taller?
I may have a little bit.
Yeah, you look taller.
I think I've reached the end of my growth spurt.
Yes. How old are you now?
20?
Wow.
20 and a half. It's just like
Who's your friend there?
This is Doug McNeil. Hi.
Hi, Doug.
How did you break your arm? I fell. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Fell. Long process of surgery. Medical bills will haunt me. No. So did you sit in on any of Jonathan Robbins'?
I didn't know you had another daughter. It's my father. My father was faced with this humiliation. And then thinking about it and saying, I shouldn't have to be he at least had that much education.
It's not on.
South.
You sure? It's a little red light, it's focusing.
Retrained into our new
It's on standby.
accepted it. They kind of like
I am missed on the radio, you know, I have to watch it talk about
smaller. I've never actually.
And we need some people to take part.
Yeah, right. Is that all right?
Where'd you get that?
Sushi Kong. I'll find it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here it comes.
Okay, I'm waiting.
But he's still going strong. I mean, he's still.
Oh, well, I saw him in the reading.
DOT class.
He was having a hangover, I think.
A lot of it is so.
Do it now.
Wait. Austrian German that translations are hard to do.
Those you can do well. So what? Needs to be after dark.
I did a thing. I did a 10-point proclamation on the poetic act. That too, you can do that. I've done a couple of poems, Lancelot and Guinevere.
It's the early ones.
That's the early ones. The early ones are a little easier in a way, but then
No, they are so full of mannerisms.
I know. I was highly manneristic. I know. In fact, all of those guys, basically, the whole Vienna school is like that. Wired, who has been translated. There is an English edition of Bayer's work. So what brought you here?
What brought me here? Well, that's a double connection, you know, largely neutral because
Yes,
like
Andre.
my soul,
Andre
and
Kuczewski.
I mean, it's different connections. I was here last year at the Dharma Assembly
Oh, I see.
in the Rocky Mountain. At the same time, by chance met girls here.
Oh, really?
So I felt,
right.
you know, like having experienced some ominous chance meeting, one more magical out of the book experience.
I didn't know they were allowed to ship those out of the country.
Just say that.
Is it like black on the black market?
It's not electrified.
Or at least not too.
They have a great time. I've been wet.
Right.
Hot top. No.
Oh, a hot tub? James.
According to the expert.
We have a place called Waterworks nearby, remember? You just spend all your time, you go down tubes,
Slides and all.
Tommy's talking about some incredible place in the mountains tonight. 1 mile of that.
Here?
Somewhere, I don't even know.
Yeah, long person.
Doesn't kind of. Oh my God, I'm ruined.
Jesus, would you take those things
Take the
off?
audio off. No, but seriously. You know, I mean.
No, I don't
good
doubt
for the
that
men.
one bit. But
He wants to know if it's
all right. What's the point of that, though? What do you?
Happy 4th of July.
Peter. We don't have any like those beers? No. No more. Isn't there more from the keg?
No, the keg is beer. I think we got the last 2 cups.
Peter, what are you getting?
Yeah, well, what is that supposed to say, though?
Well, what was my point originally?
I don't want to look at you.
You're asking us?
Well,
It's
just
just we're
that,
talking about
just
this
that
sort
if
of
you don't
freshman
understand what a
high
person like Zach has to deal with in regards to somebody like
But see, I totally understand because I was a queen in high school. I mean,
well, so okay. The original point of all this was that it's like, it's not fair of us, I don't think, any of us, to be so fucking, you know, like
critical or
so
hard on
well
them.
to be so like saying that this is all just a-okay groovy. It's like being totally callous to the other person. It's like
You think I've
it
always
doesn't
told-
even. I mean, I've
No,
had
always
this.
said Zach has got to be really pretty tough, especially like you know, like being seen with him all the time. You know.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure Zach is. That's
It's 35
that's one of the points. You know.
queers.
he's
always
choosing to be
thinking
in
about
a gay
that.
relationship.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you know, that could be. I don't even know if it's even a choice anymore. You know? And the point is more like, the point is. Pederasty is that to me. See,
Pederasty is the class.
Okay, but besides, well, all right. Besides the terms of like I've seen, that's what makes it weird.
Literally, it's
That's what seems lesson every time we have siren.
Sexual cameras watching us. I'm gonna steal some.
It's a very hot conversation.
I know. Should have been here earlier.
Everybody says that. I mean, everybody's saying.
No, I mean, if you're never heterosexual male, and you look at girls, I got him to read a book about Alistair Crowley. So if you have to be a pederast, you want to fucking and you look at boys as being
Then there must be a response. Like if that's what you do and you know that's what you do.
guy.
But I didn't see much. 'Cause it
He
was-
did it, and he did it with Anne. Yeah, he had all these English novels.
Right.
He loved.